taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are going to take a look at the Admiral Hipper once again, yes. So, of course, this weekend we do have the Cruiser Challenge going on in World of Warships. Basically, you know, take your cruiser out and you will get double experience in the cruiser. So that is what I have been doing for the most part this weekend. I'm also vigorously grinding my shores, because at this point in time, I think I'm about 20,000 away from the shores. I only need 4 million credits, and then I will, or 20,000 away from the Chapiab, sorry, and I only need 4 million more credits before I can purchase it, and then I'll have the Russian Tier 8 cruiser, so that'll be fantastic. As well, my grind in the aircraft carrier continues along, and I've since sold the Zihu and have moved along to the Ryujo. Ryujo is interesting. I have yet to think about whether or not we'll take a look at her on the channel, but if you want to see some Ryujo gameplay, let me know, obviously. Anyway, in the Admiral Hipper. Now we're on Ocean, and I wasn't going to show this replay, but you know, as soon as I saw that it was on Ocean, I was like, no, yeah, we're going to actually have to take a look at this, because Ocean is an excellent map to have if you're just going to take a look at ship capabilities, you know, how a certain tier, class, or ship type should play. Ocean is excellent because there is no cover. There's no cover whatsoever. Nothing you can hide from. It's straight up maneuverability and concealment. Oh, and as well your accuracy when you're firing your guns, of course. But anyway, those are the main things that are going to get you victory and going to give you a lot of damage in the Admiral Hipper. I do not know what the average damage is in my Admiral Hipper that I have. I couldn't tell you. I know I can go look it up, but I haven't. But if I had to take a guess, I would say anywhere between 70 and 75,000 damage is the average in the Hipper that I would be at, I think. Just because it's just such an amazing cruiser. The guns on this thing are, you know, really the bread and butter of the whole ship here. And you do want to be firing armor piercing at basically everything except destroyers. But that being said, you know, I have heard criticisms about the Admiral Hipper saying, you know, people really don't enjoy it because the high explosive damage of an Admiral Hipper isn't so great, and especially if you do consider, because I mean at first I dismissed these claims, and no, no, these people are crazy, don't listen to them, Thotgor, I said to myself. But once, you know, I gave it some thought, and if you look at how, again, the game is played currently, especially with a lot of the American ships, you know, you do get a lot of battleships who go bow onto, and, you know, not just the American ships, the higher tier Japanese ships as well, who will go bow onto. And in those situations, the Admiral Hipper can have, you know, really awesome armor-piercing rounds and whatnot. It's not really going to help you out in those situations, right? I mean, a lot of those shots are going to bounce. They're not going to do a whole lot of damage. It's just not going to work out very well for you. So I definitely do understand that, that, you know, the HE penetration or the HE damage values aren't high. And I get that. But I think the ship has so much other, you know, positive aspects to it going for it that there's just a little bit of, you know, a lack of HE damage isn't so bad. Maneuverability is huge on the Admiral Hipper. I mean, this is one of, you know, the most maneuverable cruisers at Tier 8. It is pretty damn fantastic and nimble. The speed, I think it's about 32 knots, which is respectable. It's not, you know, as fast as a Japanese cruiser, but it's definitely still above 30 knots, so you can do, you know, you can do a lot with that 30 knots, be very flexible with it as well. And we can see here as well, just while I'm going off in a rant about the Admiral Hipper, we can see some of the HE value there at work with this destroyer that I'm firing at right now, right? The quick rate of fire on the Admiral Hipper guns are also very nice to have. I'm not 100% sure what exactly it is. We'll have to take a look once I fire the next salvo out. But it's very quick firing. It's not too bad at all. I mean, 10 seconds, maybe a little more than 10 seconds, if that. And then, you know, you're fully reloaded. And if you want to have your high explosive loaded up, then it's, you know, easy enough to switch back to the armor piercing. And it's something that I'm always trying to remember to do. So there we go, it's 12-second reload. So that's nothing. Nothing too big. So, you know, for me as well, I mean, one of the things that I'm trying is, right, obviously to switch between my high explosive and my armor piercing at the proper times. which is fairly easy to do, but I do get lost on, or distracted, I should say, on targets in the background. Like, I'm shooting at this Thotgor right now, right? Yeah, maybe I should be firing at the destroyer, I don't know, but I see the Thotgor and he's giving me a broadside, and I'm going to take advantage of that. And that's something, too, that I would recommend a lot of people doing, because I don't know if people are or are not doing it, but it does seem to me that, like, there are definitely times when I'm playing in my cruisers, and, you know, I have to turn. And because I have to turn, there's enemy ships around, I am going to be giving a broadside to one of these enemies, right? But I do it, I make the turn, but no one shoots at me because all of the enemy battleships around me are all in their sniper mode, busy firing at targets way off in the distance, right? We all need to sort of just keep in mind, you know, things going on around us and the closest targets around us and whatnot. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, maneuverability. I mean, the Admiral Hipper has it. And on top of this, the German cruisers at tier... The last time I played my York was when the York first came out, right? Back when the German cruisers first came out. And the York that we had then compared to the York that we have now is totally different. In fact, I did a York video on the York way back when. So if you do want to see how the York used to play like, you can just go ahead and take a look at that video. You'll find it in my playlist. But anyway, the York and the Admiral Hipper, the Rune, and the Hindenburg, they all have pretty decent armor, and specifically pretty decent chance of ricochet, so that incoming shells that, you know, enemies are firing at you, coupled with your great maneuverability of the cruiser, you are easily able to mitigate a lot of that damage, unless, you know, you are getting unlucky or you're in a pretty tight situation. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you can only angle against one ship, right? Well, I mean, that's debatable, but still, you get the point. So, you know, things can happen, but still, it's a great cruiser, all-around great cruiser. I mean, and she still does have torpedoes, which is fantastic. The torpedoes are 6-kilometer torpedoes, granted, but, you know, should you need to get in there close up, or if you're in a last-stand situation, you have the option of firing torpedoes and potentially getting a kill, maybe taking out that last enemy ship that you were trying to kill before, you know, you went down. So there's that as well. We can start seeing, I mean, this is the first citadel I got in the game, but you can see, like, as soon as an enemy ship, or specifically an enemy cruiser, comes up to you and is giving you a nice broadside, you immediately want to be hitting that cruiser with your armor piercing, because you will quickly rack up the citadels on that player, and it will really pay off in terms of your damage total. Now, when it comes to battleships in your Admiral Hipper and firing at battleships in the Admiral Hipper, you do want to aim above the armor line, the side of the ship, that hull. You do really want your shells to ideally land on the deck of the ship and on the superstructure part of the ship, because that is where you're going to do a whole lot more damage, especially if you're at range. Now, once you get in close and you're in an Admiral Hipper, you are able to penetrate and citadel anything from, say, North Carolina, and Iowa. Iowas will go down real fast to an Admiral Hipper. Montanas are a little more tricky because they sit a little lower in the waterline, right? They're a little more tricky with the Montana, but you can still do decent damage. And on the Japanese side, you can definitely citadel a Magi. You can citadel a Zumo, although that's probably not much of a surprise. Yamato? No. I don't know on the Yamato 100% sure if you can or cannot citadel Yamato with your Admiral Hipper, but I'm going to say no on that one, just because you'd have to be so close to do it that the Yamato secondaries at the very least are just going to blow you out of the water before you get there. So there's that. I mean, so the guns on this ship, really fantastic. In fact, I think they're the same guns that are on the Hindenburg. It's just, you know, they're in double turrets and they're slower firing, rather than the Hindenburg having triple turrets, faster firing guns. Which makes sense. It's lower tier, obviously. But you can see as well, another thing that I do enjoy about the Admiral Hipper is just the the straightforward aiming on the ship. You know how some of the ships have quirks, like you have to aim at the you know, just above, like, you know, put your reticle on the tip of the bow of the ship and shoot from there, or, you know, donate at the water line because your shells will always fall short, like those sort of little quirks that a lot of ships have. Not necessarily in the Admiral Hipper. You can see it's pretty fairly straightforward. Put your, you know, reticle, line it up on the ship here, give it some lead, and fire your shots, and those shots should go in and do some damage. Now, right now, I am not doing good damage, and this again plays into that whole aspect that people say, you know, that the Admiral Hipper maybe isn't that great, and this is a situation for high explosive and whatnot. It's true, but don't lose faith. I did have to put out a few salvos there, but I did eventually get the Citadel, and I did eventually do a whole crap ton of damage to that Oba. So, you know, I'm not... I guess, you know, with your armor piercing, you can't expect to, you know, do a crap ton of damage in every Citadel, but the damage will come. You just got to keep pounding away at the enemy ship. I mean, obviously in a situation where the Oba, if the Oba were to survive, which it doesn't, but obviously in this situation, right, you'd want more of a high explosive round going out there because you're not presented with much of a target, and if your armor piercing does hit, it probably is going to just bounce or ricochet. Now, you do see the Arizona off in the distance. I'm still trying to figure out the Arizona here, because I've, you know, come up against her a number of times in battle, and I can definitely tell you, if the Arizona is coming straight at you, she is not one of those ships that you can just Citadel the bow. No. No. You can fire at that, the front of the ship all day long, and it's not going to do nothing. I am getting a bit of damage here on the Arizona with the armor piercing rounds again, but again, I mean, you can see that the ship was broadside, and that really does open up the options there for your Admiral Hipper to get those shots in. And instantly I do switch over to the Thotgor because, I mean, why not? So the Arizona has shots incoming for me. Now, in the meantime, I mean, my team and myself have been doing a pretty great job here on Ocean as well, securing our caps, right? We do have the A cap, we do have the B cap, pretty commanding lead, and at this point in time in the battle, it's fairly late in the battle, but we do have the enemies pushed away from the middle point, right? You can see they are still trying to get at us, but we're really trying to keep them away, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do now. I'm on very low health, so I'm trying to do this from the background, which brings up another excellent point about the Admiral Hipper, the range. So the Admiral Hipper has that perfect sort of range for this cruiser, or for cruisers at tier 8. You're looking at about, I think it's just below or just above 17-kilometer range on the Admiral Hipper. Very, very workable. That seems to really be like a magic range for cruisers, especially at this tier, because if you can start engaging someone 16.5 kilometers out, and if you can keep engaging them at that distance, you know, you are going to have a major advantage, especially, for example, if you're coming across a Mogami, because the Mogami doesn't have the range to actually fire out at you. You can outrange the Mogami in this Hipper, which, you know, is amazing. Anyway, you can see I'm being chased down by two Thotgors. At least this Thotgor that we're looking at now is definitely chasing me down, and this Thotgor that I was shooting at earlier, kind of on the fence about chasing me down. They do eventually both decide to chase me down. You're going to get a good glimpse here of maneuverability of the Admiral Hipper, because I have very low hit points right now. I'm trying to dodge as many shots as I possibly can while still being useful to the team. Keep in mind, just because I'm on low health doesn't mean that's my excuse to run off into the corner and disengage from the battle altogether. No, no one has that excuse. I'm still going to be firing at the enemies, taking what shots I can, but I'm very conscious of opening up the distance with those Thotgors, giving myself a better chance and better opportunity of being able to avoid their incoming shots. And another good aspect of this play that we're going to see here as well is the ricochet effect of the Admiral Hipper. I'm not 100% sure how many hit points I have, but I do take, and I mean, you are in these sorts of situations, you are going to take damage. It's, again, how much damage are you going to take? How much of that damage can you mitigate with the ship you have? So the Admiral Hipper is really good at mitigating that damage, so I still do take some. I take a little, but I don't take as much as maybe another ship would have. So you can see shots are coming in, right? Simple turn and avoid the shots. Now, again, I mean, you could say, well, Thotgor, these players just don't know how to shoot, and this is true. This is true. I mean, this is just a random battle, right? Random people. But at the very least, I'm still able to dodge the shots. So, number of things here are at play. But anyway, even though as well, right, disengaging. You can see on the minimap that it does look like I'm pretty far out. I'm still able to fire at these enemies. The Thotgor's off in the distance. One of them at least is giving me a nice broadside, so I mean, why not get in there and take advantage of that and see if I can't get some more citadels or at least do some more damage. The second Thotgor has decided now to chase me down, so we're gonna have to try to survive against these two guys. I did take a bit of damage there, which was kind of unfortunate, but again, I'm still alive, still going. We still have more damage to dish out here. The enemies only have 4 ships remaining. They've got a destroyer, they have a Colorado, and of course the two Thotgors. Now the destroyer is obviously facing off with our destroyer in the B cap zone, and I do have some, or rather my destroyer does have some allied support in there as well to help out with that enemy destroyer. And oh, it's not a Colorado, it's that dastardly Arizona, that's right. And of course the enemy Arizona is still near the B point, so this is going to be, you know, a little bit of an issue, or potentially a little bit of an issue for my allies. Now, even though I'm still able to fire in on these enemies, I am quickly approaching the time where I am going to be out of position, no longer able to support anyone, and basically just, you know, fucking off in the corner. So I'm not going to let that happen, so I do have to start turning. This is the riskiest part of this whole running away and trying to open up the distance from enemies, is as soon as you make this turn, you know, you're giving a bigger target for the enemies to start shooting at. So you need to be more aware of what's coming in at you. So luckily, I'm still, like, I am turned, but you can see I'm still on a diagonal, right? Still going towards the map edge here. And this is important as well. If you can go in the direction you want to go in, but if you can do it on the diagonal, it's going to make it a whole lot harder for the enemies to actually range you in, and it will take a few salvos for them to actually get the shots in. So you can see those shots came in. 711 hit points, I believe, is what I have remaining. The battle is almost over, and I'm at about 91,000 damage, which isn't too bad at all. But if I can just stay alive and potentially get some more shots off, that would go a long way. Now, we did take out the enemy Arizona, so this is fantastic. We only do have the enemy destroyer remaining. You can see one of my cruisers as well is now in the A cap zone and capping that out, or sorry, in the C cap zone and capping that out. The enemies just took A, that's right. But whatever, no big deal. I mean, we're about to take that C cap zone, so we'll again get cap superiority, which is fantastic. Got a nice little hit on the Thotgor out there, which is great. I did want to remind these people, you know, just leave me alone. The Admiral Hipper does have teeth, and when you're cornered like I am right now, I will just, you know, try and destroy you as quick as I possibly can. Even though I have 711 hit points, again, still, not disengaging, not just running away, still trying to do something. Now, they do eventually take me out, and this is an inevitability. I mean, these Thotgors were going to chase me down till I died, so, I mean, I knew that going into it, but look at where the team and how the team is positioned, right? 100,000 damage is what I managed to pull off. We still do have 3 allied ships remaining, but the enemy ships remaining aren't in that great of a shape. We do have the 2 enemy Thotgors who are making their way towards B now. They are cruisers, so they are fast, so they might be at a position now, but they will not be at a position forever. So we need to keep this in mind. But we do have a pretty commanding lead, and in fact, if we can just manage to take out this enemy destroyer, that might give us enough points to win, and in fact, it does. And victory is ours. So yeah, Admiral Hipper, excellent ship. And you can see too, I mean, it does go without saying, but I'll say it anyway in case. You know, the cruisers are your support class, right? So you know, you can really see how just making sure that you're always supporting your team, how it really pays off. Now, even though I died, I still finished top overall. Like I said, I had the 100,000 damage, wasn't too bad. I did finish with 2 kills, I believe. More importantly, what I'm concerned with is money. Like I say, I'm about 4 million away from that Chapiev, and I can't wait to get in the Chapiev because I am really loving the Shores. It is definitely a keeper, in my opinion anyway. Yeah, Shores is a great cruiser. Anyway, folks, that is the end of the video. I do hope you enjoy it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you were not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.